Welcome to The Explainer. You ever look at a financial chart and just see, a total mess of lines? Well, today, we're going to decode a secret language that traders have used for centuries. It's a language that turns all those lines into a crystal clear story about fear, greed, and the constant battle for control. We are talking about Japanese candlesticks.
And to really get a grip on this language, we've got to go back to where it all started. Our story begins way back in 18th century Japan, with the legendary trader who first figured out how to read the market's emotions.
Meet Munehisa Homa. This guy was a rice trader, a total legend, who had this incredible insight. He realized the price of rice wasn't just about simple supply and demand. Nope, it was also driven by the raw emotions of the traders, all their hopes, their fears, their greed.
So Homa needed a way to actually see this battle of emotions play out. And what he came up with was, honestly, revolutionary. A system to turn boring old price data into a story you could understand just by looking at it. And learning to read these charts, it really is just like learning the market's own secret language.
So, how do we start learning this new language? Well, like any language, you start with the alphabet. And in our case, the most basic letter, the fundamental building block, is just a single candlestick.
Every single one of these candles tells the entire story of a trading period. It doesn't matter if it's a minute or a whole day. It captures four crucial pieces of information. The open, that's the price right at the start, the high and the low, the absolute highest and lowest points the price hit, and finally the close, which is the final price right when the clock ran out.
Okay, see the thick part of the candle? That's called the real body. Think of it as the heart of the story. It shows you exactly how far the price moved from where it opened to where it closed.
And what about those thin lines you see poking up from the top and bottom? Those are the shadows, or sometimes people call them wicks. They show us all the drama of the session, the extreme highs and lows that were tested before the price finally settled down.
All right, so now that we know the basic parts, let's get to the really cool stuff. Let's see how the shape and color of a single candle can tell you in an instant who won the battle for the price.
It's actually super simple. If the candle is white or green, we call that bullish. It just means the price closed higher than where it opened. The buyers, or the bulls, were in control and they pushed that price up. Now, if it's black or red, that's bearish. That means the sellers, the bears, took over and drove the price down.
But the story has way more depth than just color. A long body? That shows a really decisive, powerful victory for one side. But long shadows? Well, they tell a story of a struggle. For instance, a long upper shadow tells you that buyers tried to shove the price way up, but sellers fought them back down before the session ended. It's basically a story of a failed rally.
And this is where things get really powerful. When these individual candles, our letters, start to group together, they form words and even sentences. And these patterns can signal that a huge shift in the market's direction might be just around the corner.
Let's start with one of the most powerful sentences you're ever going to see on a chart. It's called the bullish engulfing pattern.
So here's the blueprint. You've got a small bearish candle, right? Sellers are feeling pretty good. But then the very next candle is this huge bullish monster that completely swallows or engulfs the one before it. This is way more than just a price change. This is a shock to the system. It's a sign that the entire psychology of the market just did a 180.
And here it is out in the wild on a real chart. You can see the market is heading down, sellers are in charge, then bam! That bullish engulfing pattern shows up, and look at what happens. The market just immediately changes direction. It's a classic takeover story.
But, not every battle has a clear winner. Sometimes the story is about a tie, a stalemate, total indecision. And that's where this special family of candles called the doji comes into play. A doji happens when the open and close price are almost exactly the same, which signals a serious tug of war. But the real story is in the shadows. Look at the one on the left, the dragonfly doji. That long lower shadow shows that sellers tried to crash the price, but buyers just heroically pushed it all the way back up. That's a potential bullish sign. The gravestone on the right? It's the exact opposite. Buyers tried to rally, but sellers slammed the price right back down. A bearish warning.
Now, a very similar and really powerful bullish signal is called the hammer. Just like that dragonfly, it's got a long lower shadow and a small body right at the top. When you see this thing pop up at the bottom of a downtrend, it's telling you a very clear story. Sellers gave it their best shot to push prices to new lows, but they hit a solid wall of buyers who just rejected them and hammered the price right back up.
So there you have it.
In just a few minutes, you've learned the basic grammar of a visual language that was Munehisa secret weapon, a language that, believe it or not, was pretty much kept hidden from the Western world all the way until the 1980s.
So let's just recap the big ideas here. Every single candle tells the story of a battle. Its color and its size tell you who won and by how much. Its shadows, they reveal the failed attacks from the other side. And when you start putting them together, these simple patterns can give you a huge clue about what might happen next. Look, this is just the beginning, right? The very first chapter of the language. But you now have a completely new lens. The next time you look at a financial chart, you're not just going to see lines and numbers anymore. You're going to see the story.